But first, in the U.S., all eyes were on Oakland, where a rally of thousands of anti-corporate protesters paralyzed one of the country's major ports. That follows last week's violent dispersal of a demonstrators camped by police that saw a former U.S. Marine severely injured. Our correspondent Lucy Kafanov was at the center of it all in the protest-locked port. She filed this report from Oakland.
We're here at the Port of Oakland, where the Occupy Wall Street protesters have successfully shut down the port. The crowd you see behind me is gathered here because one of the workers tried to speed through the crowd, almost running over several protesters, trying to get through the human line, the human barricade. The protesters surrounded the car, prevented him from going. He's now backing out, but a lot of folks here are furious because, again, this was a predominantly peaceful march. Thousands of people had gathered here, almost no police presence, and so these kinds of tactics, these kind of aggressive tactics, driving through the crowd, plowing through the crowd, really uncalled for and very, very surprising here in light of how quiet it has been. Now, again, the Port of Oakland has effectively been shut down. Several thousand people marched from downtown Oakland onto this area. They shut down all of the gates, effectively sending a warning shot, they say, to the so-called 1%, the corporate owners of the port, trying to hurt the top elite where it hurts the most, in the pocket, in the economic sense. Whether or not these kinds of tactics are going to be repeated at other Occupy Wall Street movements remain to be seen, but it is quite interesting to sort of note the contrast between the heavy-handed tactics employed by the Oakland Police Department just about a week ago, when we saw the very serious crackdown that resulted in several hundred arrests and an injury to one Iraq war veteran as well as other protesters, with a very, very peaceful and yet massive demonstration here that saw almost no police presence, that successfully and effectively shut down this port. I think that at the very least it's going to be a new tool in the arsenal of the Occupy Wall Street movement. They'll see sort of the power that folks have to organize on short notice and to take out these kinds of actions that, you know, can't really be ignored, regardless of whether you stand for or against this issue. It is tactics like these that affect the pocketbooks of the large corporations that do get noticed. And I think that protesters will sort of learn a lesson from that and perhaps employ that in other areas. Reporting from downtown Oakland, the Port of Oakland, for RT, I'm Lucy Kafanov.